Hello guys, this is the Storyteller and today we are going to talk about the Star Wars. Star Wars was a franchise created by George Lucas in the 70s, but today the Lucasfilm brand has been bought by Disney and now is headed by Kathleen Kennedy, a crazy woman who likes to put all of her political tropes in the movies. However, it has been a pretty big hit, but let's say we are going to talk about Solo. Solo, the Star Wars movie, was okay. I watched it, it was okay, but it wasn't better than Rogue One. It had some seriousness, but it lacked. Solo was an economical flop. If you look at the other Star Wars movies, it was a flop, garnering only $179 million in foreign and domestic $213 million. It made overall $392 million, which is not exactly the double of $275 million. $275 million was its real production budget, but it said that after the production budget, the post-production budget is also supposed to be really big. Like if it is said $275 million, then it has to be nearby $400 million. That is the real production budget, including the post-production budget. So it made only $392 million. So it can be said that it lost some money, at least you can say 10 to 20 to 40 to 50, 10 to 50 million dollars it lost. However, some people liked it, some people disliked it. Let's see what we can make out of this mess. We're not going to go to Rotten Tomatoes because, as we all know, Rotten Tomatoes is like the wokest site of all time. But we're going to watch through IMDb and some other sites what exactly was the fuss. And for my review is that it is an okay average movie. Last Jedi had a lot of politics, overwhelming. The fat girl takes the hero's crown, feminism to the front, and then animal rights. Everything was there. Last Jedi was a total mess. And so was the first movie, The Force Awakens. But this movie did make a lot of money. We don't know the production budget of Last Jedi, but it made about $620 million of domestic and foreign was $712 million. All over it made $1.3 billion, while Force Awakens made about $2 billion. $2 billion is pretty big. If we can say that the movie was overwhelmingly copied production of the first movie, A New Hope. The whole scenario, the whole movie was a scene by scene copy of A New Hope, just replacing the male hero by a girl. Seriously, that was it. That was Force Awakens, a total, complete feminist trash. Now, if we take a look at Solo was an okay movie, like I said, but unlike the other Star Wars movies, it was a visual bore because it wasn't exactly that kind of heavy on the effects and CGI stuff. Combined to the fact that its story is so normal, so boring, it comes off as flat as possible. People would like it because there is no such intensity. There is no intensity at all. And that's what people today really like. They don't like any negativity. They don't like anything huge, blasting or killing to the core. They just like some minor characters to be killed. Like there's a weird feminist robot in this movie. A feminist robot. Seriously. That's how they put this trash let's take a look at the reviews. 1 by 10. Hilary Swank. Oh, I think this is a guy who is naming himself Hilary Swank. Anyway, Solo, a Star Wars story, 2018 is a shooting game for Star Wars fans rather than cinematic storytelling. The storyline is quite simple but boring. As I told, it's boring. Han Solo meets Chewbacca and Lando to get smuggler business of hyperfuel down. However, they decide not to turn evil dark side at the end. Aiden Aaron's acting is ordinary. I also thought it was okay, but it is acceptable. Audiences expected there would be some familiar actors in this Disney Star Wars marketing product. However, I unfortunately could not find Harrison Ford in this film. Of course, Harrison Ford can be in this film because he is old, Dumbo. I remember there was his credit in online data, but it had gone. Ron Howard's directing had editorial support from Pietro Scalia. What factor made this product dull and boring? That must be the story, screenplay. Is there any dramatic moment in this film? I don't remember any dramatic moment in this movie. That's how dull it was, really. I think that is when tragedy of Solo and Kira happens at expositional sequence. At the beginning, the worst moment is the miracle of Solo easily re-encountering Kira. This plot defect failed the dramatic dynamics of the entire film and made it extremely boring. I'm sorry, in my mind, true Han Solo is only Harrison Ford. Only Harrison can make this film successful. My rating is 2 out of 10, but I can see it's a 1 out of 10. I don't know why. For Pietro Scalia and the other for tragedy of Solo and Kira. Anyway, there is a translational gag for the film that Solo is Chinese means Soros, the new liberal demon. The Chinese translation of this film is Han Solo. Han Solo. It's a great job to mention this review. Let's go on. They're mostly 8 by 10 or 9 by 10 reviews, but these are from 2018. Okay. Most of them are from 2018, which is probably that they just watched that movie and came up and reviewed the thing. My personal perfect moment of cringe was the feminist robot. It somehow found love in a human and was continuously talking about oppression, systemic oppression and all that. What is wrong with these filmmakers nowadays? One more review is, just sort your socks instead. I can't say that Solo is a bad movie because it's not really a movie at all. It's a mess of action scenes glued together. I won't say that exactly, but because I would say it is an average movie. It's an average 3.5 by 5 or 7 by 10 movie together by all the adventure movie cliches the director was able to find. It's the first time in my life when I was so bored watching this one is way worse than even the Attack of the Clones. I guess it's an achievement itself of being a bore. Okay, we get it, man. Okay, we get it. I've seen that people praise it for being true to the lore, but actually they've just took a couple of facts from the original trilogy and stapled their script through, though I doubt they even had one to it. The cast is absolutely uninspiring and talentless. The main guy, I refuse to call him Han, and the Mother of Dragons had about 4 facial expressions between them in the entire movie. I think the Mother of Dragons is because that girl from, I think, that series, Game of Thrones. I felt such a pain watching Woody Harrelson and Paul Bettany, who are great actors, dragging along in this mess for 2 hours. I would say that Woody Harrelson was nice, okay. He's a good actor. That's why he always has a charm to it. The better actors they make a certain habit, they make a certain look for themselves that continues throughout their careers, and that's why Woody Harrelson actually flows quite better than anybody else, I would say. Honestly, just believe me and don't go to the cinema for this one. It was okay, but well, sorry for you, bud. 10 by 10, expected to hate it, but loved it. Despite being a huge fan, I had lost faith in Star Wars. And I have too. I was never a fan, but I have completely lost any hope in Star Wars because it became a cash grab. Everybody knew that it was a cash grab. Okay. Now, people did understand that it was a cash grab when they saw the first movie. The first movie was a direct copy of New Hope, and it made $2 billion. $2 billion. But on the second movie, the whole thing bounced back to 1.3 billion. Now, what do you think it means? What do you think that means is the people, they can understand that you are milking them. You are milking them. And when Solo came out, it was the end. They did not like it. They didn't want to watch it. It was nothing. There was no juice to be taken. Another review says 6 by 10, no happiness or anger, just an average feeling in between. I have a really good feeling about this. That's the line that Han said in the trailer that's playing in the cinema before the movies. And I remember my friend leaning over to me saying, I hate that he says that so much. There's no denying that all my friends felt that this movie was not needed, me included. But we got it nonetheless, and I always want to give them every chance. Well, it's a pretty long review, but it's, I won't read all of it, but I would say that it has mixed feelings. It's probably the biggest mixed feelings movie ever I've seen. Solo, a Star Wars story, has ranged from 7 to 9 to 5 to 6. It's a mixed bag. But I would say my own thing that it's an average movie. You can watch it, but it's nothing needed. This is the Storyteller. Next time we will have more cringe, more reviews. Peace, and do hit the subscribe button and like it, and you can comment too.